Yo, what up everyone? Today I got a little treat for you guys. I'm gonna show you a couple of tricks that will make you better at Hunt Showdown. A lot of these tricks are barely mentioned by anybody and will in most cases instantly make you a better player. The first thing before jumping into the game is something outside of the game that a lot of well-experienced players do but nobody really talks about, and it's kinda a gate-kept secret. I'm talking about Digital Vibrance. Ever felt like your game's visuals, your graphics, feel a little bit like a mesh of grey and brown tones, and it can be quite hard to spot your enemies? Digital Vibrance is an NVIDIA setting that is utilized by many professional FPS players to help them with visibility in games. It simply increases saturation of colors, which makes sure that even small differences in colors are more noticeable, which helps you to spot your enemies significantly. All you have to do is to go into your NVIDIA control panel, go to display, then to adjust desktop color settings, and then scroll to the bottom. By default, Digital Vibrance is set to 50% and can be turned all the way to 100%. I personally use it at 80%. No, this is not bannable and is used for over a decade by professional Counter-Strike, Valorant or Apex players, for example. As a side note on that setting, don't forget that this will make everything look more vibrant, so when you are shopping for clothes online, for example, or for furniture or anything where you care a lot about the color, that, for example, you're buying a red shirt on Amazon, the red you will see on your monitor will be significantly more vibrant than what you're actually getting. Tip number 2. You can use your ping marker as a landmark to accurately hit long-range flare pistol burns, frag arrows or explosive arrows. Ping your enemy's body or location you want to hit, and then use the ping marker as a landmark and only have to compensate for your projectile drop. Tip number 3. You can check if somebody is near the boss layer once you have 3 clues by checking if the Darksight bubbles move inside the compound. Bosses have like a little bubble around them, a little like cluster of bubbles around them, so you can check where the boss is while fighting him, but you can see those bubbles from quite far away. This helps a lot to check if the boss compound is safe without having to go inside the compound and falling for an ambush. Like you can see here, when one boss enters the compound, the bubbles start moving. That means I don't even have to check if the boss is red or white. I already know if somebody is in there before I even get into the compound area. Tip number 4. You can hotkey your consumables for quick access onto different buttons. I highly recommend that, especially for items like your vitality shot, so you can, without any chance of failure, swap to your heals. This is a big game changer, and a lot of people don't know about that. Also, at the same time, you can move your consumables around your inventory by holding the input mid-game. For example, you pick up a weak vitality shot and want it on your normal vitality shot slot. For example, you used your stamina shot at the beginning of the round and loot a frag grenade and you want it to be further up in your consumable slots. You can move it from, for example, slot 9 to slot 7 or whatever keybind you have by picking out your item on slot 9, then holding, for example, slot 7, the 7 key, down, and it will swap your item inside your inventory to reshuffle items. Tip number 5. The grayzone cutout is the same for everybody. This is nowhere mentioned in the game and a lot of people don't know that and assume it's random, but it is exactly the same for everybody. Anybody who gets 1 clue of your cutout will get the exact same grayzone cutout. That means when you spawn in the same cutout, you can plan ambushes based on the bounty cutout and easily predict what compounds players will go towards next. This can help to wait for or ambush a team that is behind you, or try to cut teams off while traveling the map, since you can do very educational guesses which clue they are going for next. I highly recommend utilizing that, and once you start getting used to this, you will notice how much easier it is to read your enemies. Dauntless is a 1-point perk and honestly a must pick in higher elo. It cannot only defuse dynamites, which is known by many people, but it can also defuse aka Dauntless choke bombs, which can be incredibly useful to secure kills, burns in stalemates and forces the enemy to make a move after you have secured a kill. Also, when you go in your settings, you can turn your interact button on hold to make sure that you don't miss any throwable as soon as you can interact with the item by holding your interact key. This setting is an absolute game changer and will make sure that you will never miss a Dauntless opportunity. Tip number 7 goes right into the hotkey feature. There are some hotkeys that are important to rebind instead of using the default keys. In my opinion, every player should rebind the voting and jumping onto 2 separate keybinds and not have it like the base game recommends it on spacebar or on one singular button. This allows for quicker movement, aka you can jump over obstacles if you want to, or make sure you vote over something when you want to, and don't make it somewhat of a gamble. And it also prevents you falling off a balcony or similar structures because you accidentally vote the railing while you meant to jump to dodge a bullet. The second keybind I highly recommend rebinding is rebind your ping marker from the middle mouse button to any other location of your choice that you can press while shooting your gun. That means you can press that button while pressing mouse 1. This allows you to take your shot while also giving your teammates information at the same time. This might not seem like a big change, but it allows your team to always be on the same page when fighting, and believe me, once you start doing that, your fights will feel very different because your teammates have a very good understanding what you're looking at. I think everybody knows that when they're playing with their friends and your friend suddenly starts shooting at somebody and you're trying to figure out what they're actually looking at. Are they like really close? Are they like in the distance? What am I actually looking at? If you instantly start pinging whatever you're shooting at, you don't even need to communicate and try to explain. He's behind that tree with his 3 branches next to the bush. Nope, your teammate instantly looks at the ping marker and you don't even have any downside since you're just playing your game and just slapping that ping button while shooting at your enemy. Tip number 8 is more optional, but I highly recommend it. When you change your hipfire, ADS and shoulder aim sensitivity to the same number, it will instantly increase your movement possibilities. When shooting a gun in hunt, like many of you notice, you are locked into your ADS sensitivity until the shooting animation is done. And then you are returning to your shoulder aim sense. Which means by default settings, you will have a much slower sensitivity until your firing animation is done than when you are out of ADS. Which means you will have a much harder time strafing after a shot or moving after a shot in general. A lot of people often compliment on my movement and ask how I move strafe instantly after taking shots to avoid being hit, and this is the setting that allows it. Number 9. Positioning is the most important skill in Hunt Showdown. That means a good player will always plan the route ahead and avoid putting themselves into positions in which they are doomed as soon as they miss a shot. I do offer free coaching on my channel, and this is the number 1 mistake I see people do. People often complain about being inconsistent, and every single time I do a coaching and people say they are very inconsistent on a day by day or week by week basis, it usually comes down to them putting themselves in positions in which they have to hit the shot. And since aim is not a constant thing, everybody has good and bad days. On the days where they're hitting the shot, they get away with their bad positioning, and on the days where they are not hitting the shots, they get punished for it. So the goal is to always be next to hard or soft cover, aka a cover you can hide behind that cannot get wallbanged or barely get wallbanged, or at least a soft cover that breaks visual to your enemy, in case you do need to heal or you do have to reload. You ever wondered how players like Ragnar, Hornet or me survive in seemingly unwinnable situations? It is by constantly having cover available and being able to survive when missing shots. We don't hit every singular shot we take, but we allow ourselves to miss shots by positioning ourselves correctly and always having a plan B. If we miss 10 shots in a row, we stay alive until we hit the 11th shot. We do not win because we hit every singular headshot, but because we allow ourselves to miss by positioning ourselves correctly. Also, when it comes to positioning, make sure to never re-peek the same angle. Like you will see in that example here, when you re-peek the same window or door or corridor or the same corner multiple times in a row, you will be peeking into your enemy's crosshair, your enemy's iron sights, which makes you a much easier target to hit, since they're just waiting for you to peek back into them. So always make sure, if possible, to Adjust the angles you're peeking from, even if it means just peeking the right side of the box instead of the left side again. Try to be unpredictable, so your enemy always has to react to your movement and you're never peeking into a holding weapon, because that quite often means you're gonna die. Tip number 10. While I just talked about aim being quite inconsistent, there is a setting in Windows that makes sure that you will be very inconsistent and have a bad time when playing FPS games. The setting is called mouse acceleration, or in your mouse properties on Windows, enhance pointer precision. It is hidden under that. Doesn't sound as obvious, but enhanced pointer precision in the Windows setting is mouse acceleration. You always want to make sure that that is disabled. For anyone who doesn't know what mouse acceleration means, this setting means that your effective DPI, aka how fast your cursor moves across your screen, is based on how fast you physically move your mouse across your mousepad or your desk. This means that when flicking your mouse, your cursor will move further across your screen than when you move your mouse slower across your mousepad, which makes it basically impossible to be consistent, since suddenly the velocity of your mouse, how fast you move your mouse from point A to point B, dictates how much movement happens on the screen. To be more consistent, make sure that enhanced pointer precision is disabled. And thank me later. Tip number 11 is a 2.3 update tip. Flare pistols blow up dynamites now, so get used to it. And get ahead of the curve by using this mechanic and making it a part of your kit. For example, shoot a flare pistol in front of a door, throw a dynamite on it. Unless the enemy knows the flare pistol strat, there's no way they can avoid getting hit by it, and you will 100% mop up some kills that you usually wouldn't get. But anyways, that was it for the video. I hope some of those tips were tips that you guys were not aware of, and they will actually improve your gameplay. I will be making more guides like this in the future, so stay tuned, subscribe, and let me know what you think about these kind of videos. Thank you for watching, have a good one, and bye bye.